Hello and welcome to the Pop Hive, the show all about pop culture and entertainment from the discerning eye of me, your host, Kate Sevilla. This week we discuss that sweetheart, Chris Brown, Adele's wigs, the concerning world of dance moms, why Oprah is helping out Lady Gaga, and we speak to comedian and musician, Vikki Stone. This past week saw both the BAFTAs, the GRAMMYs, and the lesser talked about IFTAs. But thankfully, there's a light at the end of this never-ending tunnel of award show, red carpet, best worst dressed, acceptance speech, wardrobe malfunction, prediction hell. Now all we have to do is get through the American Cinema Editors Awards, the Cinema Audio Society Awards, the Writers Guild of America Awards, the Independent Spirit Awards, the Brits, and the Academy Awards, otherwise known as the Oscars, on the 26th of February. See? We're almost there. Almost there. In between the moving tributes to Whitney Houston, who suddenly and tragically passed away last Saturday, during the Grammys there were some interesting moments, like Chris Brown being allowed in the building, Chris Brown being allowed on stage, Chris Brown being nominated for and somehow winning a Grammy. Despite some upsetting and confusing tweets from some of Brown's fans, offering up their hearts and their bodies for Chris Brown to beat up, logical people have been highly critical of the Grammys for having Brown on the show, and for rewarding him with one of the highest honors in music. There's currently a petition on change.org to get the Grammys to apologize to victims of domestic violence, as Grammy executive producer Ken Ehrlich, possibly pronounced Ehrlich, I'm not really sure, told ABC News that, quote, Chris Brown has not been on the Grammys for the past few years, and it may have taken us a while to get over the fact that we were the victim of what happened. Yes, the Grammys were the real victim of what happened. The poor, poor Grammys. In response to everyone's disgust at Brown, he eloquently tweeted the following. Hate all you want because I got a Grammy now! Exclamation point. And then he throws out an F-bomb because he's a badass like that. And then he deleted his tweet. Like a boss. But aside from all that, the Grammys also marked Katy Perry's first public performance and signing her divorce papers from Russell Brand, complete with a happy face and a heart as if she were signing an autograph for the state of California. Katy changed outfits 3 times during the Grammys, and she performed her new single, Part of Me, on stage wearing a yellow Power Ranger costume with crimped hair that looked as though it was dyed using berry blue Kool-Aid. Tabloids are describing her Part of Me single as a new revenge anthem, and some journalists from some of those magazines that have a random verb as the title are wondering if this breakup song could be Katy's equivalent of Adele's Rolling in the Deep, which was also written about a breakup. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say no, it's not. And speaking of Adele, I'm not sure if you heard, but she won 6 Grammys. 6! Girl done good! To be honest, I was starting to feel a bit sick of Adele and her half-dozen Grammys, but then she did something unexpected. She invited Anderson Cooper into her bedroom. While filming an interview for 60 Minutes, the 23-year-old Adele showed Cooper around her giant manor house that she's just renting while she builds another house. The place is mostly unfurnished, and she let Cooper into her bedroom, despite it being covered in clothes and unpacked suitcases with a bunch of her wigs scattered across her bed. She then proceeded to introduce Anderson Cooper to her wigs, because naturally, she names them. One's June Carter, and the one she's wearing in the interview is Jackie Collins. Damn it, Adele, I was all ready to be tired of you and your haunting vocals, and then you had to go and name your wigs. I love you, and I would be happy to roll around in the Jeep with you, as long as you let me wear one of your wigs while we do it. Another young English lass who's been doing quite well for herself over in the States is everyone's favorite fashion twiglet, Alexa Chung, who is now hosting a Project Catwalk-style show called 24-Hour Catwalk.
Oh, we're in trouble.
3, you can't do that. 2, 1. My name's Alexa Chung, and this is 24-Hour Catwalk. I'm coming for you, Klum.
That was really good that she gave Heidi Klum a warning there. I'm sure Heidi Klum was feeling pretty intimidated about that show. 24-Hour Catwalk is on the prestigious Lifetime Network, who are most known from their dramatic made-for-TV movies like Deadly Honeymoon, A Date with Darkness, 12 Hours to Live, and Baby for Sale. But Lifetime isn't all about shows that sound like Daily Mail headlines, as they have a happy-go-lucky show called Dance Moms. Dance Moms takes place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the Abby Lee Dance Company, which is run by a really lovely and supportive woman called Abby Lee.
I did not say your kid wasn't talented. I made her! I know she's talented!
Another level. You're acting like little bitchy schoolgirls. This is about Chloe
comforting to know that the youth of America are being brought up by such fantastic role models. The next generation is in safe, not at all degrading hands. Coming to theaters later this year is the adaptation of the moving novel Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. The trailer has just come out and features America's 16th president swinging an axe around and generally kicking some 19th century vampire ass. The more I watch the trailer, the more I like it, but it does make me yearn for Buffy. Like, doesn't Lincoln know that you need a wooden stake to the heart for them to die? Get your vampire facts straight, Abe! The film also makes me wonder what the heck happened to that Pride and Prejudice and Zombies movie. The adaptation has struggled to find a leading lady, as everyone from Natalie Portman to Mila Kunis has turned down the role due to scheduling conflicts. Portman is reportedly still a producer on the film, but they can't seem to hold down a director. Can it be really that hard to find someone who wants to play Elizabeth Bennet, who also kills zombies? Call Kate Beckinsale! She'll do it! She loves killing the undead! And she already has the accent, just give her a latex catsuit and a weapon and you're good to go. Allegedly, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies will be out sometime in 2013, but seeing as they can't really get their act together, I'm not exactly holding my breath. On a more charitable note, Lady Gaga's Born This Way Foundation will be launching on February 29th at the Harvard Business School of Education. It's reported that Oprah Winfrey will be helping with the launch event, and surprisingly, she'll be filming the event for an episode of Oprah's Next Chapter, Oprah's new show about herself on her own network, called OWN. The Born This Way Foundation is all about bravery, kindness, and acceptance of others, and I think it serves as a fine example of how pop stars can use their influence to make a positive change on society, rather than just assaulting our senses with their art. This week, our special guest is comedian and musician Vikki Stone. Just a warning, if you find talk about Philip Schofield's sex appeal and the bleeping out of curse words offensive, you might want to look away now. From Hilary Duvet's gigantic shoulders to power ballads about Philip Schofield, Vikki Stone knows both comedy and music inside out, and we're thrilled to be talking to her today. Hi, Vikki.
Hello, Kate.
How are you?
I'm good.
Wonderful, wonderful. So before you were singing songs about Philip Schofield's scrotum, you had quite the musical education. How much school did you do?
I started life playing the flute. As a classical flute player as a child. And I went to music school, sort of a boarding school at 16, and then went to drama school after that, and then ended up at the Royal Academy of Music. Wow. So I think if you're going to do it, if you're going to sing filth, do it properly.
Yeah. I read on the highly reliable Wikipedia that you were a backup singer for Elton John.
Well, Elton John is also Royal Academy of Music.
What, did you get to meet Elton?
Yes. Well, during the rehearsal process, Elton doesn't turn up to the very last rehearsal. So you have an Elton stand-in, and then Elton turns up at the last day, and then you do all the gigs. Elton came round on first name terms. Elton came round to one of the gigs at Wembley, sort of to say thank you. And he has this dog called Arthur, and he came up and said, "Well, thank you very much for your hard work." And I said, "Does your dog travel well?" And he said, "Yes, thank you. He's only made a mess on the plane once." And then then he goes on to my friend, and my friend goes, "Don't suppose I could play your piano, could I?" He went, "Yeah, sure." Gets one of the guys over, and he's doing the bloody sound check the next day. And I'm thinking, I asked the wrong question. I asked about dog shit. I am asking the wrong questions to Elton John.
Yeah, that's
annoying.
That's not fair, really.
I know your song. I can bash that out.
How did you go through the transition from, right, I'm doing musical theatre and I have loads of education in that, to, I think I'm going to do stand-up comedy instead?
Transition makes it sound like something I had to go to hospital for. Yeah. Well, musical theatre I found it a tremendously frustrating business. It's a business that's very much based on luck rather than, I think, talent. Even getting the castings in the first place was insane. And then when I was actually there, I tended to ruin the opportunities. Like, there was one situation where I was auditioning for, what's it called, Footloose, for the show Footloose that was in town. And I was singing Flashdance, What a Feeling. Classic.
Amazing.
And a very, very appropriate song for Footloose. Yeah. So I'm giving it What a Feeling. Piano's playing. It's very important when you're doing auditions that you cut your songs down.
Yeah.
And I hadn't cut the dance break, and he was playing the da 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 da, and I stood there going, "Oh my God, I've got to do something. Shit, this goes on." And I think the first thing in my head, I think, well, I can't dance. It's Arlene Phillips. So I better do something else. And so I stand there and go, and they all look at me as though I'm absolutely insane. And then I have to go, I'm welding.
Okay.
In the middle of an audition, and then the hand goes and goes, thank you very much. That's all we need to see. And out I go.
Okay. Do you find stand-up comedy easier because it might be like easier to weld randomly halfway?
Do you know what? I'd say yeah, because basically people will find that funny. I like stand-up comedy because you have much more control about what you're doing and about kind of what you can write and what you can present to people and what you think other people will find funny.
But have you had a really awful gig?
Yeah, I think my worst gig ever was last Christmas. Now, Christmas gigs are notoriously dreadful, full of stags, hens, office parties. And these are people that never go to comedy outside of this time of the year. So they don't actually know that you have to listen. And they just think it's all about them giving the comedian shit and the comedian dealing with that shit.
Oh.
Now, just before I went, the audience were really rowdy, and just before I went on stage, the security guard goes, I think we should agree a safe word. If we're agreeing safe words before I go on stage, that ain't a gig.
That's not a good sign.
And I get on stage, and this guy gets up on stage and starts playing the piano. And I was like, this is the safe word. This is the safe word.
Was that your most memorable gig, or do you have like nice gigs that you like to look back on?
You mentioned Hilary Devey at the beginning. I think the gig I did for Hilary Devey will be hard to be topped.
How did all of that come about with Hilary Devey? Because you did a Hilary Devey Get the Look, complete with jowls.
Yeah, well, she saw it, and her agent, she called me up and Sylvia Daddy Harris here. We love the clip.
She's like Joey's agent from Friends.
Yeah,
it's me, Estelle.
Yeah, it is. It's the British version. She called me up and said, you know, we love it, Hilary loves it, would you come and perform? And yeah, so they wanted me to do Hilary, and so I sort of wrote this bespoke act that involved me singing I Am What I Am as Hilary Devey, you can imagine. I am what I am. And it was amazing fun, because after me it was Status Quo. So it was,
nice.
Yeah, it's not every day that you open for the Quo.
For Hilary Devey.
For Hilary Devey.
Doing
Hilary Devey. So I don't think gig-wise it gets much better than that.
Philip Schofield was in your Philip Schofield song.
He was.
How did you get him to do that? Because he literally holds up your panties to his face.
He rubs them against his face and he smells them first.
So because didn't he tweet about your show when you were in Edinburgh?
Yeah. I think what I'm guessing what happened is that lots of the reviews mentioned the song and mentioned him, and he just sent a tweet with one of the links to the review saying I'm liking Vikki Stone. Not that I've memorised it, but there was a smiley face. And then the video got commissioned, and we just asked him.
There's a very tired argument that women aren't funny, or that women don't need to be funny. Do you think that your career has been any different because you're a lady comedian, or?
I don't know. It is a funny one. I mean, there are certainly fewer women when you work in the comedy circuit. I'm very, very rarely on a bill with other women because promoters wouldn't book more than one. I think it's an audience thing where if you say you're going to a comedy night, you picture men. You picture men in suits or men in jeans and a t-shirt, you know, being slightly sexist.
Nice.
I think that isn't what comedy is, and I think, you know, that isn't even what men are doing. Going back, the mechanism to be funny, I think comes, I mean, certainly for me, comes from school. That was always my way of carving my own sort of popularity at school. Because it wasn't by being nerdy and it wasn't necessarily by being cool. It was by being funny and playing pranks and jokes and that kind of stuff. And that was my personality. And I think that guys do exactly the same thing.
If people wanted to come see you live and in person, when can they come and see you this month?
I'm doing my show Big Neon Letters, which is the last year's Edinburgh show that is being put on at Soho Theatre, March 16th and 17th. And then I've also got the Glasgow Comedy Festival, which is the new show, called Hot Mess.
Nice.
And that is on the 31st of March in Glasgow. And then all the rest, I've got loads of preview dates of that show all through the summer at various different theatres around the country. So www.vikkistone.com.
Oh, and what's your handle on Twitter?
At Vikki Stone.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now we're going to do a lightning round.
Okay.
Prepare yourself. What is your favourite film?
Ruthless People.
Favorite play?
Who watches plays?
Favorite song to sing in the shower?
The Power of Love.
Favorite singer or band?
Bette Midler.
Favorite kind of sandwich?
Cheese.
Favorite curse word? First celebrity crush?
Philip Schofield.
Awesome. Most embarrassing song you have on your Spotify playlist?
Oh, Bonnie Tyler, Faster Than the Speed of Light.
Ooh.
Oh, amazing.
Nice.
I love to cycle to that.
What is your least favorite smell? No, I'm kind of concerned about my next question. Drink of choice?
Drink of choice, gin and simnite tonic.
Hangover cure of choice?
I'm on a diet at the moment, so I want to say bacon, but at the moment it's just the smell of bacon. Okay. It's the metaphor.
What celebrity would play you in a movie?
Bette Midler.
Obviously. What's your dessert of choice?
This is a lightning round. I like dessert, you see.
Yeah, and that is a hard question.
Crumble.
What award would you most like to win?
What award? Oh, that arse one. Rear of the Year.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you know, all the greats have won that. Carol Vorderman.
Incredibly
Joe
prestigious.
McKeldry.
What is your favorite app on your phone?
I quite like the maps.
Well, that's it. That's the
Is that
end. That is the
Oh.
end. Thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
And for making me laugh and for saying the C word repeatedly.
Only twice. That is repeatedly, yes, that is. But I could have said it more.
You could have. Thank you for restraining yourself.
Exactly.
Thank you. Yeah. So could you maybe perform a bit of the Phil song for us?
Okay. Just because it's you. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Make sure you can't see my pants. Philip, oh Philip, do you mind if I call you Phil? I've loved you since the early days. Do you mind if I love you still? Philip, oh Philip, come over here and fill me in. You can wear me like a glove puppet. Why don't you massage me from within?
Wonderful, yeah.
Enough.
Cool. That's all we have time for today, but please do give us a follow on Twitter as @PopHive or sign up to our newsletter at pophive.tv. Thank you very much for watching.